You know, in real estate investing, we talk all the time about buying and selling properties or buying rental properties. You know, that's the transaction, but we don't really talk about how do we get to that transaction? How do we actually get to the point where we put a property in contract? Well, that's called marketing. Marketing is the communication in the beginning of how we find our potentially motivated sellers, or really how our potentially motivated sellers find us and respond to us so that we get an opportunity to potentially buy their property. So there's a few things that you want to think about as far as like general tips in your marketing. First of all, there are different marketing channels. You can use text messaging, direct mail, online marketing. You can use a combination of those, but when you're first starting out, sometimes it's good to sort of hyper-focus on one channel and then utilize that to communicate with your homeowners. Now, let's say you're going to be using text messaging. Text messaging is a great way to communicate with homeowners because it's not as evasive as making the phone calls, the cold calls. You never know, people might be at work, they might be in the middle of something, and text messages today are a great way for us to get a message, but we will answer it when we feel like it or when we do have time. So that is a great way to communicate with your homeowners, but you want to think about the messaging also. Sometimes, you know, homeowners aren't just going to respond to one type of message. And they say that it takes 6 to 8 exposures before you get someone to even respond. So you might have to set up a series of 6 to 8 different text messages that you send to get most of your homeowners to actually respond back to you. So thinking about the messaging itself, you want to keep your messages short. Number one, it's going to be better on your budget for your text message blasting because you do actually pay for how many characters that you have in each text message. They're called credits. Now, number two, you also want to think about having those effective, quick, easy messages because no one's going to read a story, as a text message. So you want to keep your messages short, but really concise. Utilizing ChatGPT is something that you can do now because there are some great advantages to using artificial intelligence and coming up with some of those effective messaging. And you also want to think about, between having some messages that go out that maybe are just messages for educating your homeowners. Maybe you're just giving them some tips and tricks about how to manage their property, or if they're facing foreclosure, tips and tricks on how to do, loan modification or what to look out for in their foreclosure case so that they don't actually end up going into foreclosure. And then also you want to think about some of your text messages might also need to be more direct, where towards the end of your text message campaign, if you're sending several different text messages in that campaign, that you want to start getting more direct with people to really filter out the tire kickers and those that might be serious about selling their property. So your messaging towards the end might be more direct about, hey, you're facing foreclosure, you've got a sale date coming up on your house, and you need to sell your property. So you'll go from introducing yourself and kind of easing into it through your campaign. But those are some general tips that you want to think about when you're building your next marketing campaign to communicate to your potentially motivated sellers so that you can get in front of them and hopefully get the property in contract.